Call the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very important night because that's probably the last speech that member's going to make until September the 20th, 2014, because he's the Phantom MP who will not put up hoardings, doesn't know whether he wants to stand for Epsom or not, and prepared to be an absolute doormat for his party scheming and plotting. Now, if he thinks that's diligent, that's his view, but it's not the view of others in this Parliament who are prepared to stand on their own feet and fight their own causes without seeking a ladder from someone else all of the time. And so when I hear these free marketeers over there talking about the value of endeavour and free enterprise, I think to myself, how shallow is that when in their own behaviour they evince the very opposite? No, they won't take a risk. They won't say, I'll put it all on my belief in myself and my colleagues in my party. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no. They've got so many fingers outside. They're like a six-armed octopus trying to survive against the storm and the sea, and they will not win doing that. Now, let me say this. We in New Zealand First believe in an up-to-date, fair and efficient tax system. We think it's fundamental to a great democracy. We have always supported a robust tax system. And funny enough, Mr Goldsmith got up and started talking about a capital gains tax. Hasn't he heard Mr English and Mr Key say, we've already got one under national? So it's the question is a matter of degree, isn't it? Let's not have these stupid arguments in this campaign that are so shallow, but obviously so beloved, of innocent new members who are cannon fodder in the National Party. Now, there are aspects of the Taxation, Annual Rates, Employment Allowance and Remedial Matters Bill that we can support, but the FATCA, the US Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, that's what we are concerned about. It raises aspects that are very serious with respect to this country's national sovereignty, issues that have never been sufficiently and fully addressed. Worse still, Mr Speaker, this bill came before Parliament and then the Finance and Expenditure Select Committee when they had not even completed the agreement with the United States. What sort of public policy is it when you pass legislation dependent upon a later agreement which you haven't actually resolved? That's not the way we do, surely, government in this country. But under national, the United States says something and they say, how high? You're right. The United States says, we want to be able to go down to the home or business of any former US citizens who may have been here 35 years under a sovereign nation called New Zealand, that's had an unbroken line of democracy, that's holding elections for the last 155 years, and they say that sovereignty can be invaded by another country, namely the United States. Go back and do what? Oh, Constitution 101? What are your qualifications in the Constitution? Yes, I want to know, because I want to tell you this. One thing about our Constitution is, it says that the New Zealand Parliament is paramount. That's the number one principle. It is sovereign, that this country is answerable to nobody else. That's what our Constitution says. But here comes the former Abbott trainee, who didn't even graduate, and he comes and tells me that he's a constitutional expert. Well, what great news! Of course, the National Party has got themselves over there this shining bushel of light that we hitherto did not know about. So I'm delighted that at last they've found a font of all knowledge about constitutional matters, because hitherto they had shown so much ignorance on these matters. Now, you know, United States interests are not always synonymous with our interests. Allowing the US to open the door into our tax and banking system is not something that can be done lightly. I already now know of KiwiSaver providers who are saying, if you're from the US, we can't take you on. We're not opening our books to the United States, and so we won't take any US former citizen on in New Zealand. Now, I think that is appalling. I think that's abysmal. And I know of a time when the National Party would have been shocked to hear those sorts of things. And these were men, like Labor, who'd come back from the war and had spent 4.5 years fighting for freedom. and they understood what freedom meant. Now, over here, you've got a party that's posing under false pretences. They're no longer the National Party. They're the International Party. The United States asks for something and they say, what did you say, Uncle Sam? What's that again? We got it. We'll do exactly what you want. And while they do that, people they promise protection when they immigrated to New Zealand lose all right to have privacy, the kind of privacy which we, as New Zealanders, used to enjoy. I think that's not... No, I know it's rubbish. I'll get around to that member especially later. But I'm talking about some serious matters here. It's a significant piece of legislation. Passed by Congress in March 2010.
I'm sorry to interrupt the honourable member.
So am I.
The time has come for me to leave the chair. This debate is interrupted and set down for resumption next sitting day. The People's House stands adjourned. Is suspended. The People's House is suspended and I will resume the chair at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Haere rā, kakati anō, po maruhi, good evening.